Hi amazing socialites, how are you all doing? Today I welcome you to the beautiful tutorial of this gorgeous godet dress. I'm going to be taking you through the pattern drafting, cutting and sewing process of this gorgeous dress. As always, this tutorial is very simple, beginner friendly and easy to understand. If this tutorial is the one you are interested in, why not switch your back, relax, enjoy while I take you through the entire process. And if you are coming across this channel for the first time, please enable to subscribe. If you haven't, give this video a like, share and drop your comments in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. First things first, you have to get all the vertical measurements marked out, and they include the breast point, the under bust, the half waist length and the shoulder to the hip. And here we have the breast point of 8.5 inches, the under bust of 11 inches, the half waist of about 16.5 inches, the shoulder to the hip length measurement, which is the total length of the pattern paper. Okay, and then we move over to this center part of the pattern paper, and we have the same vertical measurements marked out, after which we connect all the points horizontally just like so, from the breast point down to the half waist length. And at this point, we're going to be marking the armhole length, and we're going to be using an armhole length of about 7 inches because she is she's not really a teenager, she's just 12. So here is the armhole length. Okay? Lest I forget, here is the center fold area of the pattern paper. So all our measurements from the center begins from there. So we begin by marking out the shoulder measurement from the center fold divided by 2. So we have 14 inches for the shoulder divided by 2, which is 7, and we have that marked up to the armhole length. Okay, now note that this dress has a zipper at the front, so we are going to be adding a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches to the width of the shoulder divided by 2 because of the zipper at the front. Okay, so here is the addition to the shoulder width because of the zipper allowance. So we are going to be marking out, or just taking out the first, or ignoring the first shoulder that we have marked out. Okay, so we are no longer using this, we are using this second one. So from this center area, we are going to be marking out the neck width, but before that we make sure we take out the zipper allowance of 1.5 inches and then the neck width of 2.5 inches. And here we have the neck depth of about 3 to 3.5 inches, depending on how deep or high you want that to be. Okay, and you have that connected. Feel free to use your freehand or your curve rule. So coming down to this shoulder area, I come down by 3/4 of an inch, and that is for the shoulder slant because our shoulder is not straight. So we have that connected to the base of the neck, and then from this point down to the remaining length of the armhole length, we get the midpoint. And in getting the midpoint, you just fold your tape rule into 2, whatever that gives you, mark that point. Okay, so from that point we are going to be marking 1/2 inch inward. Okay, I hope you are getting this clearly, and then we are going to be curving that. But to get that curve, we have to divide the bust measurement by 4. So whatever that gives you, you have that marked out. Remember, we have our zipper allowance to add to that. So when we add our zipper allowance, whatever point we get, you know, that is the point we have our armhole marked. Okay, so now it's time to properly mark out the zipper allowance. So we have our zipper allowance of 1.5 inches marked out. So I'm going to be marking that all the way from the beginning, or from the top of the pattern paper all the way down, and I have that connected vertically. Okay, so this is our zipper allowance, and this is the front pattern, not the back. So every measurement from the center fold begins from the zipper allowance, or just at that zipper allowance line. Okay, so now we have our bust measurement already marked out. We come down to the under bust. Because she is a small girl, you know, the under bust and the waist measurements are almost the same thing. So I ignore the under bust, I come down to the half waist, get the waist measurement divided by 4 and have that marked out. Okay, I also have the hip measurement divided by 4 and have that marked out at the down part, and I have the points connected all the way from the armhole down to the hip area. And then at this lower part, as the hip area, I come up by 1.5 inches and then have it curved towards the center of the pattern paper. At the breast point, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. That is the difference between the half waist length of the back and the front. Okay, and so I have that marked towards the center. But to get the exact point where this is going to terminate, we are going to be using that measurement divided by 2. So whatever that gives you, you mark that from the center point knowing that this is the point where the breast dart is going to terminate by the time you connect it. So with this, we have our front pattern almost done. So let's move on to the back pattern. So we divide the pattern paper into two. So for the back pattern, we are going to be extending all our vertical measurements, which we already did at this point. So for the back, this is the center back. So from that point, we get the shoulder measurement divided by 2, just like we did to the front, which is 7 inches, up to the armhole length. So this is it, and then this is the vertical line for the armhole. And at this shoulder area, we come down by 3/4 of an inch, just basically what we did to the front, but with slight differences. So at that point, from the center of the back, we get the bust measurement divided by 4. There is no zipper allowance. So wherever that terminates, that is where our armhole curve is going to meet, okay? So now it's time for the neck width. So remember, we use our neck width of 2.5 inches for the front. Then for the back, we used 1.5 inch, and then we have that connected, okay? So at this point, we are going to be marking out the shoulder slant, which is this. And the next thing we are going to be doing is for the half waist length of the back. You remember we used 1 inch for the breast dart, so that is going to be taken away from the half waist length of the back, okay? So whatever we have here, we come up from the half waist length of the front, we come up by the same 1 inch that we used for the breast dart. I hope you understand that. And we have that connected like so. So with this point, we have this new point as the half waist length for the back, and this is the front, okay? By the time we separate the pattern papers, we are going to be folding that out. So at the half waist length, we divide the waist measurement by 4 and have that marked out, and also the hip measurement divided by 4, and we have that marked at the base of the pattern paper, and we have that connected from the armhole down to the hip area, okay? And just like we did to the front, at the hip area, we come up by 1.5 inches for the cuff at the down part. Now onto the main part of this dress, or the main concentration. At the half waist of the front and back, we are going to be dividing them into several divisions, and to get that done, I'm going to be using 2 inches apart for each of them, okay? So I have the front marked using 2 inches for each division, and at the center, from the center back as well, I did the same thing. From the center back, I marked 2 inches all the way until I exhausted the width. Then from that point, I'm going to be marking them vertically to the hip area of the pattern paper. So from the half waist down to the hip area, I marked with a vertical line following the 2 inches division that I already have marked out, okay? So after marking out the vertical measurements, the next thing we're going to be doing is to separate the front from the back so that we can work on them individually. So to get that done, we just separate the front from the back, and then we are going to be cutting out the breast dart. This is the main reason why I have to separate the front from the back, so that I can have the breast dart, you know, folded in just like so. So you take up the breast dart area and have that held with your paper tape, after which you proceed to cutting out the neckline and then the armhole area of the pattern paper. So guys, please, if you haven't subscribed, please do well by hitting on the subscribe button. Thank you. So this is the cutting of the side of the pattern paper and the down part. So now it's time for us to separate the points, or these divisions, 2 inches divisions that we have marked out. So you just have them splitted open like so, okay? So afterwards, this is what it looks like, but we're not even done yet with this, okay? So to proceed with this, we are going to further also carve out these vertical slanted points like so. Can you see? So from the half waist, you have it like a V shape downward like so. Okay, this is what it should look like. So you have that done to every single split or division of the pattern paper downwards like so, and you're going to be cutting along like so. Can you see? So we have like a V and also an inverted V just like so. I hope you understand the logic behind this part, okay? So we're going to be doing the same thing all the way to the end of the side of the pattern paper, and we are going to be doing exactly the same thing to the back, okay? So we come to the back, we do exactly what we have done to the front to the back as well. Please note that you must not use 2 inches for your own division. You can use 2.5, 3 inches depending on how wide apart you want your godets to be, okay? So you must not necessarily use the same 2 inches that I used, okay? I'm sure you remember what I said about the half waist for the back. So at this point, I need to fold that in, okay? This is to make sure that we'll eliminate every form of zipper bulge at the back, okay? So we have that folded in, and we proceeded with the cutting of the rest part of the pattern paper. And guys, this is me cutting out the godet area for the back. You remember what we did to the front? Like I said, we're doing exact same thing to the back. Okay, so we have that cut out, and guys, this is what we have for both our front and back pattern for our beautiful godet dress. Okay? And with this, we can proceed to the cutting of the fabric using the patterns. So I just place the pattern on the fabric folded into two, and then I'm going to be adding the seam allowances, but not at the lower part, okay, because the lower part is already flared by the time I'm done. So I'm just going to be adding from the armhole down to the half waist area. So after that, the next thing is just to proceed to cutting out. Note that at the flared area or the godet area of the dress, there is no need for an allowance, because by the time you add all the godets, it's going to like widen up, so there is no need for that. So ensure you notch the zipper area, okay, that's for the front, and then the down part like so. The front is going to be divided into two because of the zipper at the front. Okay, just make sure you cut exactly what you have on the pattern. It's the only difference is that you're going to be adding your seam allowances to the upper body part of your pattern that is on the fabric. Okay, so the same thing that we did to the front pattern, we're going to be doing the same thing to the back. Okay, that's it for the cutting of your fabric using your pattern, and this is what it looks like. This is it. We have enough divisions for this. The divisions are much, so this is going to be very full by the time we are done. And for the back as well, after cutting, this is what it looks like. Okay, so you count the number of divisions you have for your godet. So to cut out your godet, the first thing you need to do is to measure the total length of the dress. Okay, so the total length here is 22, and from the shoulder down to this point that we open up here is 11. So that means we have extra 11 inches for the completion of the dress length. Okay, so I added just 1 inch for seam allowance, and this is a fabric cut on square by 12 inches all the way. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using for our godet, and I did the same thing for this other one. You just cut on flare on square using the length of the dress, the remaining length of the dress. So after getting the square, you fold like so, like a cone, and then you measure to get a cone. Okay, so I'm going to be measuring 12 inches all the way from the pointy area round like so, so that I can cut out the cone for the godet. Okay, so this is the shape of the cone, and I have that cut out, and by the time I open, you can see we have a cone shape. So I'm going to be using this to cut on all other square that we have. So if you count, we have about 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8 of them. Okay, that's for the number of divisions or openings we have on the dress. So I come back to the bodies, and I'm just going to be showing you how we are going to be fixing that. So you get your first cone for the godet and you insert like so. Okay, so you stitch along just like this, then you get the next one and you do the same thing. Okay, you insert and then you stitch. You do the same thing all through, but before we do that, before we go into that, we are going to be joining the bodies of the dress. That's the front and back together. Okay, close it on the shoulder and then the side. Then I'll come back and show you how to fix the godet on the dress. So at this point, I have that done. I have the front and back joined together and shaped. Okay, so I'm going to be inserting the godet on the openings that we have. So first I get the first one, and then I turn it over like so, the pointy area touching the pointy area of the main dress, and I hold it down very slightly with the pin. Okay, and then I turn it, I shift it to one other side, and then I stitch like so to this point, and then I turn it like so again, and then I stitch down as well. So that's basically how I'm going to be doing to the rest of the cone. So this is the first insertion of the godet on the dress. Can you see how well laid it is looking? Okay, this is what the inside looks like. So at this point, the pointy area you can notch so that it relaxes more. Okay, so that's it for the first insertion of the godet. So next we are moving on to the next and the rest of the godet. Okay, so that's basically it. And for the next one, you get it and then you go through the same process, but this one you're going to be for the down part. Okay, you're going to be making sure that the black fabric, you stitch it down after you've exhausted the orange one. Okay, you cover it all the way down. Okay, that's just it, and you follow the same procedure in inserting every other one. And at the end of the day, guys, this is what it came out looking like, looking very beautiful. This is very one of the easiest dresses that I can say anyone can make. You can make this in no time, unless you just want to add extra paparazzi to it. This is very okay. For the godet, you can put stay, you can put lining, depending on how hard and how firm you want it to look, guys. So this is the smaller one, and for the bigger one, this is what it looks like. Okay, this was the one I started with. I lost the clip, so this is what it looks like, and see how beautiful it looks on both of them. So even an adult can actually rock this dress, okay, depending on how you design it, or how you style it at the end of the day. So this is what it looks like. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in my next one. Bye.